I think that would be, when I'm looking for another role, I am feeling pretty confident that I'm going to want to just reach out to you guys immediately. This has been a really great experience. It's been really helpful for me. I've learned so much. Things that people tell me, and then I'm like, okay, that kind of makes sense. But then you guys explain why we do those things. I found out when we first started that, and I showed you my resume, and you're like, there's no way that anybody's even getting eyes on this resume. And I'm like, I didn't know that. And so that was a big lesson. And I had been sending my resume out for 2.5, almost 3 months by the time we got started. Last month, Reza, what you and I were talking about is like, why don't you go through your pitch? If someone asks you, so tell me about yourself, tell me about your programming history and that sort of thing, I was doing it all wrong. That the idea is to go through your resume in reverse chronological order and speak to the points on your resume. Nobody had ever told me that before. I had never. And so again, every time I got a resume or every time I got an interview, I was interviewing wrong. And so then when I got this interview, I'm like, well, I'm going to do what Reza just told me. And so when they asked me, all right, so talk about your stuff, I was able to condense it down to much shorter and talk about, here's what I did most recently and here's working backward. And then I got a job offer. So that was the first interview after having that conversation with Reza. So the stuff that I have learned from this has been huge for me. Plus there's that feeling for me that made it easier when it was, I get really discouraged sending out large numbers of applications. It just feels like spinning my wheels and getting nothing happening. So having that piece be automated, while I can just be like, okay, well, here are jobs that I specifically want this job and I can articulate why. So I'm going to apply for it and write a cover letter in which I articulate why. But only having to manually do effort applications and being able to have the numbers that you really still need be automated for me, it was a total game changer. So yeah, I've been really impressed with the service I've gotten. I'm really very happy with how things have gone.
I appreciate that.
I have very, very much been satisfied and happy with my choice to go through this. So many times I've talked to my wife and I'm like, well, because things seem super promising and then they fall through. And I'm just like, oh my God. And I just get like this, am I ever going to get this job? And my wife's like, well, CandidateSide's still working for you, so you still got stuff. Those wheels never stop turning. And every day that you look, you could be like, oh, hey, look, all of a sudden I have an interview. Or sometimes it was 3 in one day. And I go 2 weeks with nothing and then 3 in one day. And so it's like, so even when I was discouraged to the point of struggling to find the motivation to do my applications, the applications were still happening, interviews were still coming up, and that really helped me rebound. So for someone like me, at least, this is an invaluable service.